step back, tension at Bhutan Junction suits neither China nor India. www.thehindu.com Step back, tension at Bhutan Junction suits neither China nor India's today 11:42 p.m. boundary standoff with China at the Dokala Junction with Bhutan is by all accounts unprecedented. It demands calmer counsel on all sides. The Junction stretch of the boundary at Sikkim, though contested, has witnessed far fewer tensions than the western sector of the India-China boundary even as India and Bhutan have carried on separate negotiations with China. China's action of sending People's Liberation Army construction teams with earth-moving equipment to forcibly build a road upsets a carefully preserved peace. In fact, during Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit in 2014, the stretch was opened as an alternative route to Kailash Mansarovar for Indian pilgrims as a confidence-building measure. That the PLA decided to undertake the action just as the year's first group of pilgrims was reaching Nathula cannot be a coincidence. Moreover, it came only days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's bilateral meeting with President Xi in Kazakhstan. The warmth that officials reported at the meeting was obviously misleading, and it is important for India and China to accept that relations have deteriorated steadily since Mr. Xi's 2014 visit. The standoff comes after a series of setbacks to bilateral ties. Delhi has expressed disappointment over China's rejection of its concerns on sovereignty issues and refusal to corner Pakistan on cross-border terrorism or help India's bid for nuclear suppliers group membership. In turn, India's spurning of the Belt and Road Initiative and cooperation with the US on maritime issues has not played well in China, neither has the uptick in rhetoric, including statements from the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister questioning India's One China policy on Tibet, and from Army Chief Bipin Rawat on India being prepared for a two-and-a-half-front war. These issues have to be addressed through sustained dialogue. In the immediate term, however, talks must focus on diffusing the tensions at the Junction. China has made the withdrawal of Indian troops a precondition for dialogue. This would be unacceptable to India unless the PLA also withdraws its troops and road building teams. Apart from its own commitments to the status quo, Beijing must recognize the special relationship India and Bhutan have shared since 1947, the Friendship Treaty of 2007 that commits India to protecting Bhutan's interests, and the close coordination between the two militaries. For its part, India would be keen to show that it recognizes that the face-off is in Bhutanese territory, and the rules of engagement could be different from those of previous India-China bilateral clashes, at Depsang and Demchok in the western sector, for example. Bhutan's sovereignty must be maintained as that is the basis for the exemplary ties between New Delhi and Thimphu. The Indian government has been wise to avoid escalation in the face of China's aggressive barrage, but that should not stop it from communicating its position in more discreet ways. Comments. Visit website. Victory in Mosul, Iraqi forces take back Al-Nouri Mosque from IS. www.thehindu.com Victory in Mosul, Iraqi forces take back Al-Nouri Mosque from IS yesterday 11:38 p.m. Captured by Iraqi forces of the Grand Al-Nouri Mosque in Mosul, from where Islamic State leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared himself Caliph in July 2014, marks the end of the Caliphate in Iraq. For 3 years, the mosque was a symbol of power for the IS, whose black flag flew atop the historic 150 ft tall Al-Hadba minaret. IS fighters blew up the minaret when they retreated, practically declaring their defeat in Iraq's second largest city. They are now confined to some pockets of Mosul, and Iraqi commanders believe it is only a matter of days before they can declare total victory. For the Iraqi troops, the 8-month battle has been particularly torturous, given the high casualties and the strong IS resistance on the battlefield and through suicide attacks elsewhere. It is quite a turnaround for the Iraqi army, which left its barracks and fled the city without even a nominal fight 3 years ago when it came under IS attack. The ease with which the IS took Mosul, home to over a million people, had raised alarming questions about the professional capability of the Iraqi army to defend its territory against further possible IS expansion. But Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi, who ordered the Mosul mission and stayed the course despite the huge challenges involved, has put to rest such concerns, for now. Mr. Abadi managed to stitch together a difficult alliance to fight the jihadists. While the elite Iraqi counter-terror forces led the ground battle, Iran trained Shia popular mobilization units as well as the Kurdish Peshmerga militia also joined in. The US provided air cover. Despite conflicting interests, the US and Iran are rivals while both Tehran and Baghdad have uneasy ties with the Kurds. The joint front they forged against the IS could be a replicable model elsewhere, especially in Syria where the IS still controls territories. For Mr. Abadi, however, a bigger challenge is to rebuild Mosul, where hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced, and prevent the regrouping of the IS. The destruction of the Caliphate, the proto-state that Baghdadi established, doesn't mean that the IS as an insurgency has been defeated. The group is likely to retreat to Iraq's deserts, much like what Al-Qaeda in Iraq, the predecessor of the IS, did during 2006 to 10 after the death of its leader, Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, and subsequent military blows. They struck back when they found an opportunity in crisis-stricken Syria and in Iraq's restive Sunni belt, including Mosul, which was simmering against the sectarian policies of Nouri al-Maliki Shia regime. The IS may also bide its time. Mr. Abadi should reassure Mosul's population that his government will not make the mistakes his predecessor committed. He has retaken the city, and now he has to win over its people. Comments. Visit website.